Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Aradhya Bhagavan Brajeshu Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Vakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanamamalam Prema Pumartho Mahan Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhur Matamidam Tatra Dharana Paraha Anarpita Charim Chirat Karunayavatirna Kalau Samarpayitum Unnatojvalarasam Svabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Dyuti Kadamba Sandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Smuratu Vasachi Nandana. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, we'd like to welcome all of our YouTube Live listeners, our listeners over Facebook Live, and our dear listeners over Zoom. Welcome to all of you to this day 18 of Sri Gauramrita. Before we proceed, we would like to announce and congratulate the devotees who participated in the quiz session from yesterday. We'd like to congratulate Hari Prasad Prabhu, Mother Flavia, Nutan Purohit Mataji, Brinda Gopika Mataji, Radha Mataji, and Ranjani Gopika Mataji. Congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much. Our heartfelt gratitude to all of you for participating in yesterday's session of the quiz. So today, in session 18, we will continue to describe the transcendental treasure trove of Nimai's childhood pastimes. We'll describe the studies of Nimai, Vishvarupa, Vishvambhar's elder brother, accepting sannyas, the pitiful condition of Sacimata, Jagannath, Mishra, and the residents of Nadia who are in separation of Vishvarupa. How Nimai then consoles everyone, especially his dear parents. And also in the end, we will hear what is the benefit of listening to the beautiful pastime. It is heartbreaking to hear about the sannyas pastime of Sri Vishvarupa. But Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavat gives such a vivid and a beautiful description that, what is the result of listening to the this pastime is going to be also described. So please stay tuned. Let us start from today's session. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in his Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, today we are starting chapter 15, which is entitled The Lord's Pauganda Leela. There he says, Pauganda Leela Rasutro Koriye Ganan Pauganda Vayashe Prapura Mukhya Adhyayan. that let me now enumerate the activities of the Lord between the ages of 5 and 10. That is the age of Poganda. Even Krishna, of course, he went through the Poganda stage. His pastimes of Poganda Leela are very, very famous, 5 to 10 years. His chief occupation during this period was to engage himself in study. Sri Chanakya Niti says that from 0 to 5 years, Panchavarshaye Lalaye, meaning 0 to 5 years, give them all the love, spoil them, because whatever emotions and feelings are invested in a child from 0 to 5 years, that's what will be there for the rest of his life. That would be the basis of his rest of the life. Then 5 to 12 years, Taraye, Dashavarsha Taraye, which means for the next 10 years, they should be like till their teens, they should be strictly disciplined. Taraye. That time, no love. I mean, love, but tough love. And they should be disciplined. They should be taught not to do certain things and how to do other things. And then after that, then we should become friends with the child, because however disciplined we make them after their teens, it's not going to work because they are already rebellious. Whatever investment we had to do, whatever cultivation of the child we had to do, 0 to 5 and then 5 to 12 was there. Now things will start reaping. And yes, they will start becoming rebellious, and hopefully they'll become rebellious and engage in the service of the Lord. So the Lord was in now Poganda 5 to 10 years, which means he needs to study, he needs to be disciplined. And that's the Leela which is there. The pastimes during this Poganda Leela, they're very extensive. In fact, his chief occupation at that time was his education. And after that, his very beautiful marriage took place.
Gangadasha Pandita Sthane Padena Vyakaran Shravana Matre Kante Koila Shutra Vrittigan.
When the Lord was studying grammar at the place of Gangadas Pandit, he would immediately learn grammatical rules and definitions by heart just by hearing them once. That's called Shruti Dhara. Shruti Dhara means he remembers just by hearing once.
Tabe Mishra Vishvarupera Dekhiya Jaban Kanya Chahi Vivaha Dite Korila Mon. Thereafter, seeing that Vishvarupa was a grown-up youth, Jagannath Mishra wanted to find a girl and arrange a marriage ceremony for him. Vishvarupa Shuni Ghara Chhari Palaila Sannasa Koriya Tirtha Koribare Gela.
Hearing of this, Vishvarupa immediately left home, went away to accept sannyas and travel from one place of pilgrimage to another.
Shuni Shachi Mishrera Dukhi Hoila Mon Tabe Prabhu Mata Pitara Koila Ashvasan.
When Sacimata and Jagannath Mishra heard of the departure of their elder son, Vishvarupa, they were very unhappy. But Lord Chaitanya tried to console them.
ভালো হইল বিশ্বরূপ সন্ন্যাস করিলা পিতৃকুল মাতৃকুল দুই উদ্ধারিলা.
My dear mother and father, the Lord said, it is very good that Vishvarupa has accepted the sannyas order, because then he has delivered both his father's family and his mother's family.
আমি তো করিব তোমার দুহার সেবন Shuniya santushta hoila Pita Matar mon.
Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu assured his parents that he would serve them, and thus the minds of his father and mother were satisfied. So Vishvarupa, hearing that he would get married, he didn't want to get into the complications, and he accepted sannyas. This was the same day when Vishvarupa accepted sannyas. Srila Prabhupada accepted sannyas on the same day.
Srila Lochandas Thakur, in his Chaitanya Mangala, very beautifully describes this pastime of Vishvarup taking sannyas. He says that Vishvarup, the son of Jagannath Mishra, he used to hold the Shastras in his left hand and he used to discuss Krishna Katha so beautifully with all of his friends. And who were his friends? All the Vaishnavas. They were his friends. Senior Vaishnavas like Advaita Acharya Prabhu, Srivas Thakur, all of the brothers of Srivas, they were all the friends of Vishvarup. One day, while walking home, Jagannath Mishra, he just cast upon his son, Vishvarup, and he thought to himself, he just thought to himself, oh, now my beautiful son, he's 18 years old and he's ready for marriage. I should make arrangements for Vishvarup's marriage. So just by looking at his father, Vishvarup could understand, my father is actually thinking, just by looking at, that smile on Jagannath Mishra's face and the thought process, it was so evident on the face of Jagannath Mishra that, Vishvarup could figure out that, oh, my father, he's thinking about my marriage, but I don't want to get married. This will, of course, upset my mother and father very deeply, but I don't want to get into the marriage ritual. So the very next day at dawn, Vishvarupa, he took hold of all of his, scriptures, his manuscripts and everything. And then he offered his obeisances to his parents. He just, while they were sleeping, they were all sleeping. And he just left home forever. He swam across the Ganges and he took sannyas. And at midday that day, by the afternoon, there was still no sign of Vishvarup, and everyone got so worried. Jagannath Mishra and Sacimata, they were searching everywhere in the house and also in Navadvip. Where is Vishvarup? Where is our darling son? But they couldn't find their son. Then the neighbors, they whispered amongst themselves that, oh, Vishvarup might have just left home. He's left home and he's accepted sannyas because some people saw him swim across. And the word spread that, oh, Vishvarup has gone. He has left home. When Jagannath Mishra and Sacimata, when both these wonderful parents, the blessed parents of their lordships, when they heard this, that their son left home, they just fainted. They just fainted, they just lost their consciousness and they just fell like sticks on the ground. For them, the entire, the three worlds, it was appearing like darkness. It was all empty, our son is gone. Sacimata, she was wailing and she was crying. When the neighboring ladies, they brought Sacimata back to consciousness, she was crying and wailing that, oh, my son, my dear Vishvarup, please come home. I want to see you. Why did you leave me? Why did you leave everything and go? How, my dear son, how will your beautiful, delicate body and your tender feet tolerate the hardship of walking far and wide in those days? Sannyas meant just this, that they leave home and they will suffer the hardship of, walking barefoot. So Sacimata was, how are you going to tolerate this? You cannot tolerate, you cannot tolerate, this, you cannot tolerate this without wearing shoes. How will your tender lotus feet tolerate all this? And you cannot tolerate the slightest pain even for a moment. So how will you take care of yourself? When you were studying, you were sometimes not even able to concentrate on your studies and I would help you. So now who's going to help you, my dear son? You should come back. So Sacimata was remembering Vishvarupa and she was crying in this way. I cannot go anywhere. Sacimata is saying that everywhere in the house that I go, I get remembrance of you, my dear son. So whenever I come to any corner of the house, I feel that you're going to call me Ma. I am here. And that makes me burst into tears, because your calling me mother is the greatest treasure. So seeing your sweet face, I no longer can think about myself. So what have you done? Why did you, take sannyas? Why did you leave home? My dear Prabhu, she said to her husband that, my dear husband, please, my dear Prabhu, please go and search for Vishwarup wherever he may be and just bring him back to me. Let the people of Nadia say whatever they want, but I don't know. You just bring my son back to me.
So then Jagannath Mishra, he was trying to pacify his wife who was bereaving. And rightly so, because sannyas, it means the initiation mantra of sannyas is the same mantras that are chanted for a dead body. Which means that when one takes sannyas, they are materially dead. Socially dead, materially dead. Only contact they have with the society is for spiritual upliftment. That's all. Otherwise, there is no, all the dead body mantras have been spoken. And so practically for the family, they are dead. The sannyasi would not reciprocate with the family in the same way, only for spiritual upliftment. So then Jagannath Mishra, he understood his wife's bereavement as if her son has died, although he hasn't. He said, Shachi Devi, please listen to me. Don't lament. This whole material existence is like a false dream. Your son Vishvarup, we all knew from childhood, he's a great personality. He accepted sannyas at such an early age of 18 years old. He will bring good fortune to the family. Please, instead of bereaving, let's bless him so he can remain fixed in his sannyas vow. And then he can progress steadily in his devotional service. Don't lament for his welfare. If a member of the family takes sannyas, he benefits many generations of that family. So our son has done a wonderful thing. Rejoice, don't bereave. In this way, Jagannath and Sachi Devi, they consoled each other.
So Lochandas Thakur, he says that at that time, Vishwambhar, he would, give extra special care and love to Sacimata and to Jagannath Mishra. So he would come and sit on the lap of Sacimata, and then he would, do like this, Ma, don't worry, I'm here with you, I'm here with you. And then he would gaze at his father's face who would be crying, although he's speaking and consoling his wife, but he would say, please don't cry. It doesn't matter where my dear brother Vishwarup, he has gone. But look, I'm here for you. I'm here. I will take care of both of you. So please don't worry. So hearing this, Jagannath Mishra and Sacimata, they would just lovingly embrace Nimai and all of their worries would just disappear.
So we heard from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita first, of Sri Vishvarup taking sannyas. Then we heard from Chaitanya Mangal of Lochandas Thakur of Sri Vishvarup taking sannyas. And now let's hear the description in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. You can see in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it was just mentioned that that he took sannyas. In Chaitanya Mangal, it was described in more details. And now we'll hear from Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur the same pastime in more details.
It's very vivid. The descriptions in Chaitanya Bhagavat that is now going to come, if you feel that, till now it was very emotional, Well, please get some tissues, get some handkerchiefs. It is going to get very, very vivid, very, very heart-wrenching. The way Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has described this very, very beautiful pastime.
So Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur says that Lord Gaura Sundar, he under the pretext, the excuse of mesmerizing childish pastimes, he would actually expand his unlimited spiritual forms and his devotional service in Navadvip Dham. He, of course, he created so much mischief we've been hearing for the past few days. And his mother tried to correct him, but he did not pay any attention. In fact, if he was given instruction, he would create twice as much mischief. So that Sacimata will say, what should I do? If I give him instruction, it will become worse. So let me just let him do whatever he's doing. So then the unrestrained Nimai, who just play at will, he did not fear anyone. And in the presence of his elder brother Vishvarupa, he would become soft and humble. He would not listen to his father. He would not listen to his mother. If they would try to instruct him, he would do twice the mischief. He will try to escape in so many different ways, as we saw in the past few days from the Brahmanas, from so many others. But when Vishvarupa would tell him, Gaura, Nimai, and that voice, resounding, thunderous, loving voice, his elder brother Vishvarupa, listening to that voice, Nimai would just become soft and humble, very obedient, because Vishvarupa is also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was the treasure house of all divine qualities, and he was a renounced person from his very birth. And then Vishvarupa explained that the essence of all scriptures was the path of devotional service. No one has ever had the power to refute his explanations, Vishvarupa's explanations. And he was so totally absorbed in Lord Krishna, and by engaging in hearing, speech, mind, senses, everything in the service of the Lord, he grew disinterested in everything else. And while he was contemplating Nimai's unusual behavior,
of his naughtiness, of his, so much torture he was doing to the people of Nadia, witnessing all of this,
Vishvarupa was filled with wonder. Although my brother, little brother Nimai, he listens to me, but look at what wonderful pastimes he does. He is not an ordinary mundane personality. Just looking at his beautiful form and extraordinary behavior, I just get reminded of Bal Gopal. What kind of potency my younger brother has. I've seen him not just naughty pastimes, I've seen him perform superhuman pastimes. And I personally believe, he is actually Supreme Lord Krishna who enacts this pastimes in the body of the child. And he was pondering like this, but he would not reveal his realizations to anyone. But he would just prefer to remain engrossed in his own service. He would always find association of pure Vaishnavas, discuss topics about Krishna, engage in Krishna's service, worshipping the Lord in devotion. And he would just wonder why people of this world are so mad after mundane life, after wealth, children, education. What is the use of all of this? In particular, Sri Vishvarupa, he felt great anguish that there is no kirtan of Krishna Chandra's name. And Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, other Vaishnava devotees, they also were so overcome with pity and sorrow because of the afflicted living entities, afflicted by these perverted conceptions of life. And Vishvarup, he became so depressed, not because of his own deflated ego, but he became depressed because of the suffering of others. And he said, I don't like to see the sinful faces of the people in this materialistic society. I'll go live in the forest. And so each day at dawn, after a bath in Ganga, Sri Vishvarup would visit the house of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu in Bavla in and Shantipur. And Sri Acharya Prabhu, he used to roar in delight when he heard Sri Vishvarup explain that the essence of all scriptures was the process of devotional service to Krishna. He would leave aside his regular worship just to hear Vishvarup's discourses. And then in appreciation of the discussion, he would say, Hari, Hari. This was the potency of Vishvarup. Someone was asking a couple of days ago that there is nothing mentioned about Vishvarup. Yes, there is a chapter dedicated to him, but not more than that. But there, he was just always going to Advaita Acharya's house, associating with the Vaishnavas, giving discourses, and even Advaita Acharya, who was like his grand spiritual master, was appreciating that. Just like, imagine if any of us is giving a class and Srila Prabhupada, our grand spiritual master, walks in. And at hearing our class, he says, Hari, 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 Hari. How would we feel? So ecstatic it would be that we could give some pleasure to Srila Prabhupada. That's what Vishvarup would feel when Sri Advaita Acharya would be pleased by hearing his discussions. And all the devotees, they would just roar in Krishna consciousness.
So, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, as we all know, he has a home in Shantipur in Babla, and he also had another home in Navadvip, right next to the home of Jagannath Mishra and Sacimata. And Advaita Acharya Prabhu would travel to both these places. So Vishwarup would sometimes go to Shantipur, but most of the time, during Nimai's childhood pastimes, Advaita Acharya Prabhu would stay in Navadvip. So Nimai, Vishwarup would every day after taking bath in the Ganga, he would go to the home of Sri Advaita Acharya, where all the Vaishnavas would get together and they would discuss Krishna Katha. One day, Mother Shachi, after she completed her cooking and everything, she told little Vishwambhar, little Nimai, that Nimai, I'm calling Vishvarup, I'm calling him for lunch prasad, but this Vishvarup is not coming, Nimai. Amar Shona Baba, please, can you please go and bring your elder brother? Niyesho, Dada ke Niyesho. Means go and bring your elder brother from the home of Advaita Gosai. Go. So Nimai said, okay, ma, I'm going. So then Nimai would run to the home of Advaita Acharya. And at that very moment, everyone, all the Vaishnavas, they are sitting and discussing great esoteric subject matters of Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan. And at that very moment, Nimai comes, dance almost like, his walking is also like dancing. He's coming like a little golden doll, and he would not wear, that time Nimai was very small, so he would hardly wear any, clothes. He would only wear jewelry. All over his body, he had beautiful jewelry, beautiful ornaments. There would be ankle bells on his lotus feet. There would be, very nice belt around his waist, lots of, pearl necklaces, armlets, bracelets, all of this beautiful makara kundala, earrings, and, hair tied up on a top knot with pearls hanging down. So beautiful golden doll, little Nimai would come, and then he would come, and then he would look around the house and he would say, Dada, means my dear brother, my elder brother, come. Ma is calling from so long, come. And then saying like this, shouting like this, Nimai would enter the home of Sri Advaita Acharya. And the devotees who are sitting and listening to the Krishna Katha, they would be, as soon as Nimai would walk into their midst, it would feel as if, they were relishing the Krishna Katha so much. And they would feel that what they were hearing about Sri Krishna, that same Sri Krishna has now from their heart has just manifested externally as this golden child, Nimai. And they would just, incessantly, they would just cry looking at this golden child. And Nimai would go walk up to Vishwarup and say, "Hey, Dada," he would catch hold of, Vishwarup's kurta like this, and he would pull on his dhoti, he would pull on his kurta, "Chalo, chalo, ma dakche," like this, he will pull him, that, "Come, Ma is calling, let's go." And Ma is, nicely she had made prasad, "Let's go and eat, we're waiting for you, come." So then, Vishvarup, not being able to resist the beautiful call of little Nimai, he would just pick up little Nimai on his lap and embrace him. And then they would walk home to Sacimata's home. And then, witnessing this delicate beauty of this golden child, Nimai, the radiance, the effulgence, the brightness of this golden child, which was like, it would fail even millions and millions upon moons. That was the, like externally, Lord Chaitanya, when he would walk in, little Nimai would walk in, it would be like thousands upon suns walking in. And even though it was so many suns walking in, like the glory of millions of suns, but it would be cooling rays like that of the moon. The sun it gives heat, but Lord Chaitanya's, brightness would give cool, it would be cooling as the moon. So this is how he would be so beautiful, and all the Vaishnavas would just become so mesmerized just looking at Nimai. And then he would just, take Vishwarup and they would go. And then Vishwarup, he would come home with Nimai. He would just take his lunch. As soon as he would finish his prasad, he would run back again to the house of Sri Advaita Acharya.
So then the devotees, they actually would stare at Vishvambhara in wonder. They would enter into meditation looking at Vishvambhara, and then they would experience the same ecstasy as they would when they think of Krishna. And devotees would be conversing about Krishna. Suddenly, Nimai would pass through and they would just stop. They want to discuss about Krishna, but they would just stop and find the same satisfaction in just having darshan of Nimai. And so then it is said this mystery is revealed in Srimad Bhagavatam, where Shukadev Goswami tells Maharaj Parikshit that in a previous millennium, Sri Gaurasundar appeared in Gokul as Krishna. He roamed about in different houses enacting his childhood pastimes. And the cowherd ladies of Gokul were more fond of baby Krishna than their own sons. Why? Because every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. Our sons and daughters and children, they are the products of our body, but we are the products of Krishna's soul. Of our soul is the product of Krishna's energy. And so, because a pure devotee, like the parents, like the gopis, their soul was so attracted to Krishna, the supreme soul. So their attraction to their children was much more than their attraction of the soul to Krishna. Then it is said that the super soul, which is the life of every living entity, that super soul is none other than Sri Nanda Nandana, Krishna. Everyone saw the Lord in Navadvip, yet no one besides the devotees could recognize him. Everyone else, when Nimai would pass by, "Oh, this is Nimai, Jagannath Mishra's son." But the devotees, they would just take a double take and say, "Whoa, who's this? Who's this beautiful boy?" And on the day that Vishvambhara, which is Nimai, came to call his brother home, all the Vaishnavas, they just stopped discussion and just looked at Nimai, at Vishvambhara. And the devotees, they were just glorifying his extraordinary beauty. And Vishvarup, he returned home briefly and went back. He honored his mother's request, went home, had prasadam, left again for Advaita Acharya's house. Because the enjoyments of this material life had no attraction for Sri Vishvarupa. He experienced joy only in singing the glories of Lord Krishna. In fact, even in his own house, Sri Vishvarupa, whenever he was there, all his time he would be in the Vishnu Griha, which is a room that is set aside for Shaligram Shila. And he was completely unaware of dealings of the families. And so his parents were thinking, let's get him married. He'll understand the ways of the family. But when he heard their plans, he grew more morose. He was just consumed by one thought: I will have to leave my family and go to the forest. There is no other way. And so the Supreme Lord alone is actually able to know our inclinations. So Vishvarupa, he took the renounced order of sannyas within a few days of time, and his name became Sri Shankar Aranya Swami, according to Srila Vishwanath, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat. This would become famous throughout the universe. Sri Vishwarupa's disappearance, it left the heart of Mother Sachi and Sri Jagannath Mishra in intense grief. The other family members, friends, and the parents, they wailed in lamentation.
So Vishwambhar, little Vishwambhar, he was unable to bear the separation of his brother, and little Nimai fell unconscious. He said Nimai was, in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Mangala, we saw that Nimai was, he was being strong. But here in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur describes that Nimai was not able to tolerate the, leaving of Vishvarupa. So we should understand that why is it then not mentioned in the other two literatures? Because Chaitanya Bhagavat is telling in more detail. What was the immediate effect that happened when Vishwarup left home? What was immediately the effect on Nimai? What was immediately happening with Sacimata and Jagannath Mishra is described by Vrindavan Das Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavat. So it is more in detail. So therefore, it is said that Nimai was not able to just, he was struck with so much grief, so much lamentation that Nimai just fell unconscious in the house of Jagannath Mishra when he heard that Vishwarup, my elder brother, has left home for taking sannyas. And it is said that Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu and the other Vaishnavas, they shed profuse tears and they were not able to bear the pain of, separation from Vishwarup. People from all classes of, Nadia, all over Nadia, they came and they were moved with grief. That such a young boy, 18-year-old boy, he has his whole life ahead of him and he accepted sannyas. Their hearts broke with sorrow. And Mother Shati and Jagannath Mishra, Vrindavan Das Thakur said, I can't even explain what both of them were going through. They were just wailing and crying, Vishwarup, Vishwarup, why did you leave? It is said that Sri Jagannath Mishra, he was so much overwhelmed with the throbbing pain of separation from Vishwarup that, his friends and his, other relatives, they all came and they were trying to console him in the beginning by saying that, my dear Mishra, you see, please, compose yourself, calm yourself. You are the head of the family. If you become so disturbed, who's going to take care of your wife? Who's going to take care of your little child, Nimai? You please compose yourself. Do not feel so sad. This magnanimous personality, your son, elder son, Vishwarup, he has actually delivered your entire family by accepting sannyas. If any member in the family can accept sannyas, then innumerable generations are delivered. They go to the transcendental abode of Vaikuntha. So please don't be, they were trying to console Jagannath Mishra in this way. So he said, then some others, they came and said, you should think about Nimai. Look at little Vishwambhar. He is there. He is the glory of your family. This son of yours will be the scion of the entire family line of yours. He will eliminate all your suffering. So they were trying to console him. Okay, your one son has gone, but look at the lotus smiling face of your other child, Vishwambhar.
And so even the friends and the relatives, they tried to make Sri Jagannath Mishra understand his fortunate position. They offered good counsel but failed to mitigate Jagannath Mishra's misery. Mishra Mahashai, he tried to control his emotion, and he did for some time. As soon as then he would remember the wonderful qualities of Sri Vishvarupa, he would again lose himself in bereavement. It's like, I could never know for certain whether this son would stay with me or not. The Supreme Lord Krishna, he gave me a child, and then he himself took him back. Whatever Krishna desires must certainly occur.
So why did Jagannath Mishra make this statement? That the Supreme, I could never know for certain whether this child will stay or not. Why? Why did he say that statement? Because before the appearance of Vishvarupa, all of the 8 daughters, all their 8 children of Jagannath Mishra and Sacimata had left their body. They had died. And it was Vishvarupa who was the 9th child, who was the surviving child. So therefore, Vishvarupa was, he was like the miracle child who survived. And after a few years, Nimai was born, the 10th child. So this exerting true wisdom and established in the knowledge of the absolute, Mishra Mahashaya, he was unable to control so much, but he, looking at the condition of Sacimata, looking at Nimai, Nimai also was going unconscious. He was also crying so much. So Jagannath Mishra proposed himself. And it is said that, somehow or the other, Jagannath Mishra composed himself. He composed and calmed down Sacimata. And that's when Nimai, he was able to calm himself down. And, because some of the, the Nadia people, people of Nadia, and even especially Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, they came and said to Nimai, Nimai, you have to now take care of your parents very nicely. Look, they are old. You have to take good care of them, my dear Nimai. So in this way, Vishwarupa, he enacted the pastime of leaving his house and accepting sannyas. Vishwarupa is actually non-different, and he is the direct expansion of Lord Nityananda, who is the original Sankarshan. So devotees of Nadia, Advaita Acharya Prabhu and Srivas Thakur and all of them, they were experiencing mixed feelings by Vishwarup Sannyas. Because they were, it was like hot sugar candy. Hot sugar candy, how it is? Hot sugar candy, like if you put hot sugar candy in your tongue, the hotness would burn the tongue, but at the same time you can't give it up because of the sweet nature. So you feel like eating it, but you can't give it up. So it is sweet and it is, miserable at the same time. It is happy and miserable at the same time. Hot sugar candy. So this analogy of hot sugar candy is given a lot of times in relation to the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. So this situation of Vishwarup taking sannyas is one such occasion when, the devotees were experiencing mixed feeling, that they were feeling very happy that yes, Vishwarup is, advancing in his spiritual life. He has delivered both his mother's side, his father's side, but we are left in separation from Vishwarup. Lord Krishna, the devotees were thinking, Lord Krishna has taken away from us the only saintly Vaishnava association that we had in the form of Vishvarup. Vishvarup, the way he used to talk about Krishna, it was unimaginable. It was not, able to be replicated. But now he has gone. So let us also go away from here. But Advaita Acharya, he came and he consoled each and every devotee. And he said, Advaita Acharya Prabhu said to everyone,
you will certainly meet with the highest bliss. Because I feel a great exhilaration in my heart that Krishna has made his divine appearance. Go and sing Krishna's holy names. In a few days, you will see Lord Krishna right here. He will perform so many pastimes. You will assist him. Then I'll become an unalloyed servitor of Krishna. And you will receive the mercy of Srila Shukadev Goswami and Prahlad Maharaj as well. So then Sri Advaita Acharya, hearing these words of Advaita Acharya, all the devotees, they sang the name of Hari jubilantly. And as the devotees roared with the repetition of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, their hearts just became filled with happiness.
Then, as the days passed, Sri Gaurasundara was busy playing with his friends. But when the sound of Lord Hari's name would, reach his ears and it would reach his home, he would arrive in the midst of all the devotees and says, You called me? You called me? I have come. I have come. So then he would, enact in this way just to give pleasure to all the devotees. So from the day actually that Vishvarup left home and took sannyas, it is said that Sri Vishwambhar Nimai, he reduced little bit, he reduced his restless and his mischievous and naughty behavior. He became little less, not too less, but little less. He stayed by the side of his parents and he would mitigate their suffering, mitigate their grief, from that they were experiencing in separation from Sri Vishvarupa.
So Sri Vishvarupa, Shankararanya Swami, it is said that he disappeared in 1510 in Pandharpur. Some say he disappeared in Sholapur in Maharashtra, some say in Pandharpur. But there is a description when Lord Chaitanya goes for the South India Yatra. There is a sannyasi that he meets who tells him that here in Pandharpur, Sri Shankararanya Swami Vishvarup was here, and he remembered this Swami that we met. I also have honored the prasadam of your mother, Sacimata, the mother of the universe. And so in this way, it is said, some say that he took sannyas at the age of 12. Some said here in Chaitanya Mangal, it said 18 years. So Sri Vishwambhar Nimai was about 5 years. He was in the Poganda Leela between 5 to 10 years. So if he took sannyas at 18 years, then he would be 12 to 13 years elder to Nimai. And if he took sannyas in 12 years, then he would be about 7 years elder to Nimai. But in Chaitanya Mangal, it says he took sannyas at the age of 18 when his father was looking at him meditatively, how to get him married. In fact, our very own dearest Srila Prabhupada also accepted sannyas on the same tithi that Vishvarupa accepted sannyas. And so this pastime is especially dear to all of us as the dear followers of our beloved Srila Prabhupada. Vishvarup and Srila Prabhupada had so much, Srila Prabhupada and Vishvarup had so much in common in their inspiration. Vishvarup would look at these materialistic people and he would think, they are wasting their life, and he would become depressed. His heart would cry out for their suffering. They don't know there is a treasure house of love and happiness within your own heart. Why don't you go and dive into that instead of looking for happiness externally? And Srila Prabhupada, he took sannyas for the same reason, very same reason. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur blesses all of us by saying, whoever hears this pastime of Sri Vishvarupa accepting the order of sannyas, order of life, hear attentively, he is freed from the noose of karma and attains devotional service to Sri Krishna.
Hari 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 Ho.
Ekhane rohila grantha Amrita lahari Badan bhare ekbar Bolo Hari Hari.
Hari Hari.
Hari
Jai
Hari.
Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki Jai. So today we will again sing some kirtan. Today's kirtan again we are dedicating to the family of Mother Flavier, the family of Anjudi for Anjudi's mother, and we are also dedicating it to the family of devotees in India who have requested some special prayers. So anyone who would like to dedicate kirtan in their family's name, please do send us a message, and we would love to dedicate kirtan in your family's name.
Namah
Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachariti Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vashatyadi Shattani
Jaya Shri Krishna
Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai.
Jai. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki
Jai.
jai. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
jai. Shamala, could you send me the questions over WhatsApp also, please? If you can
Sure,
send.
Mataji. Just a
Thank you.
minute.
So we'll just announce the quiz questions and then we'll open up the lines for any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Dharma Pranam.
Hare
All the
Krishna,
Srila
Hare Krishna.
etc. All obeisances. Thank you so much for wonderful class. And we have never heard Chaitanya Charitamrita, so for us it is a nectar. We are learning every day so much new and so much wonderful pastimes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, Prabhuji, I have a question. I know so many lectures I hear about Chanakya Niti. Is it favored by like Prabhupada? I even saw some pictures in last canto of Bhagavatam, but I don't know. So many speakers also talk about Chanakya Niti. Do we follow him, or who is he, and what is his contribution in our ISKCON Sampradaya?
So Chanakya, of course, he was a Brahmana in very recent times. I mean, in Kali Yuga itself, he's the one who actually was responsible to raise and give direction to Chandragupta Maurya. Chanakya was insulted by there was a dynasty, I think Nanda dynasty, and they actually insulted Chanakya and threw him away, like fired him. And so then he said that these people, they are not righteous, not because they fired him, but because that's the reason they fired him, is that he told them that this is not righteous, you should do this righteous path. And they did not agree, and they said, you are telling us what to do, so you're fired. So then he said this dynasty should not stay because they are just engrossed in sense gratification. They're not thinking for the benefit of the people, and not for any religious, they're not doing any spirituality for the community. So he then was thinking that something has to be done. These people have to be dethroned. And one time he was going and he saw a very bright boy he met, and he said, this boy, I will raise him to be the next ruler of Magadha kingdom. And he raised him. That boy became Chandragupta Maurya, who became a big leader under the guidance of Chanakya. And then he dethroned the previous dynasty after several years, maybe a decade or so. And then he became the king, with Chanakya being his guru.
An advisor also.
Yeah, and Chanakya wrote a very famous economic treatise called Kautilya Shastra, which is actually for economics and Arthashastra, and that is considered to be like the backbone of any economy. And so, under the guidance of under the guidance of Chanakya, Chandragupta Maurya, his kingdom was flourishing economically, flourishing religiously, spiritually, everything. And in Bhavishya Puran, Chanakya is mentioned. It is mentioned in Bhavishya Puran that there will be a Brahmana who will come and he will change the course of the world. So Srila Prabhupada was very much, he would very much quote from Chanakya Niti, especially from the worldly wisdom. He didn't give much spiritual wisdom in one sense, but his quotes of worldly wisdom was based on spirituality. Although he would not say worship Krishna or worship this, but he would give these moral codes of conduct which had its roots very much in spirituality, Chanakya Niti. And Srila Prabhupada would always quote from Chanakya Niti. So in that sense, for followers of Srila Prabhupada, we are following whatever Srila Prabhupada has told about Chanakya.
And therefore, we don't go beyond what Prabhupada has quoted about Chanakya Pandit and his Chanakya Niti. So therefore, the verse that we quoted today about raising children, that is quoted by Srila Prabhupada. So we are very careful that we don't, because Prabhupada talked about Chanakya, let's go and talk about, and let's do an entire research on Chanakya Niti. No. Whatever Srila Prabhupada has quoted about Chanakya Niti, Prabhupada has taken everything which is relevant for us, and he has given that to us. So therefore, we just quote from there. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, Mataji Prabhuji, thank you so much. I always had this question because I have heard Chanakya Niti 2-3 times, but I would always wonder that I didn't know. Thank you so much. And I have same question from here. Like you mentioned that age 6 onwards, age 6 or 8 onwards, like we are more strict with the children, not really as a friend. So I'm trying to understand, when you say strict, are we talking about in terms of discipline, or are we talking about not in terms of love? Like,
No. It's just, like Prabhu said, it's hard love, it's hard love or tough love, it's like disciplining the child. Even when the child wants to play, we say, no, beta, now it's time for you to study, so that is tough love.
And disciplining means that when they do something that is good for their long term, like developing good habits, then we encourage them. And when they do something which is not good for their long term development of habits, we discourage them. And so it's both. Disciplining just doesn't mean you always say, always discourage them, but discourage the bad habits that will form later, and encourage any activity that could relate to, that could become a good habit later. But after
Sure.
12, 15 years, then the time is over. At that time, if we try to discipline them, they'll discipline us. So 0 to 5 years, give them all love. That's their foundational years. Then till
6 to
teens,
15.
6 to 15, some 6 to 12, till their teen years, you can discipline. And you'll know when you cannot discipline anymore because you'll get things back.
Yes, I understand. Thank you so much. And one quick question I'll ask, like last time you mentioned that Sacimata made offense towards Advaita Prabhu. So that was not a part of today's life, because I was thinking that I don't know the whole thing, but I was thinking because Vishvarupa took sannyas, so Sacimata would just go and speak to Advaita. Is it now, or is it coming up?
Actually, for this particular incident, that she would, when the Mahaprakash Leela we will discuss, and when Sacimata was brought to, receive the mercy and pure love of God from, Nimai, from Lord Chaitanya, at that time he refused. And he said that you committed offense to the lotus feet of Advaita Acharya, because at that time, you blamed Advaita Acharya for for Vishvarupa taking sannyas. So that's an offense. So Sacimata had blamed him. But that's not revealed in today's session. It's going to be coming later in more detail.
Okay, Mataji Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Thank you for enlightening us and giving us so much knowledge and nectar of all the Shastra. Because of you all the books are coming out slow by slow. couldn't read, but I'm still trying to catch up with the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but not on track yet. But I did read quite a bit,
Wonderful.
and then I'll continue again. Thank you
Right,
so much.
right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you
Very,
so
very.
much, Mr. Kalata.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So
Hare
before
Krishna.
before we take any more questions, let's just quickly announce the quiz questions for today. Then we'll again come back.
First, from which age Poganda Leela starts? Second, what is the age children have to be given love, discipline, and then become a friend?
Third, what is Shrutidhar mean? Fourth, who are the friends of Vishvarupa?
Fifth, why Vishvarupa left home? Sixth, what's the initiation mantra of sannyas resembling with which mantra?
Seventh, which age Vishvarupa accepted sannyas? Eighth, why Vishvarupa became depressed and whom he met in Shantipur?
Ninth, how sweet it looks when Nimai calls Vishvarup from Advaita Acharya's home. 10th, what is the sannyas name of Vishvarupa?
11th, what is the benefit of family members even if one person took sannyas? 12th, what is the original form of Vishvarupa?
13th, hot sugar candy analogy is given for which pastime? 14th, what is the similarities between Vishvarupa and Srila Prabhupada?
15th, benefit of listening Vishvarupa accepting sannyas pastime. Please explain. Beautiful questions, Shamala. Thank you so much for these wonderful questions. Anjudi? No, Champakalata, you're not, please don't be sorry because we were waiting for the quiz questions to come. So please don't apologize. Never apologize.
I didn't realize as soon as lecture was over, and I said, let me ask, but I didn't realize. I
It's
just.
perfect. It's perfect. No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Di.
Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe.
I'm still trying to get back to my normal self after hearing today's katha. It's so obviously it's so divine and nectarian, and the falstuti also you said we just need pure devotion. And thank you for your this melodious bhajan. The way you sing, the chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. I don't know. There's something special. There's something can't express in words when it is chanted. It just takes me somewhere else. I just freeze. And thanks for your kathas and all. It's just keeping me grounded in these hard times. And I know Krishna is there and he's taking care of my mother Krishna, though we cannot go physically, none of us. And it is just making me more and more closer to him. So thanks for that also. And I just praying more and more. I just today's this when I heard it was a divine plan that Srila Prabhupada and Vishnupada they took sannyas at the same day or something like, or it was planned, or I don't know. It just came to my thing.
Well, Srila Prabhupada, in his dream, his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, came 3 times that you should take sannyas. And Prabhupada is very honest and candid. He said, first time when I got that dream and my Guru Maharaj said, take sannyas, I was shocked. I was scared, he said. That sannyas? I mean, Krishna, can we mute, please? Thank you. That I never thought that I would have to take sannyas. I mean, although his Guru Maharaj has said that you should preach in the in the English language to the Western countries, and he was meditating on that, but sannyas was not part of the plan. Then again, he said, "Let me think about it." Then second time again, he came after some time in the dream and said, "You should take sannyas." And he again woke up, but then he started considering it seriously. And then after a few days, again third dream came. You should take sannyas. So then he said, this is not a coincidence. This is a direct instruction from my Guru Maharaj. And so he took sannyas and the day he and then he went to his senior godbrother and he said, I want to take sannyas. So the nearest tithi was auspicious time and date was on the day of Vishvarup sannyas. So it just happened. It's possible that his Guru Maharaj was slowly bringing him so that it happens on the same day. And there is a historical significance that Vishvarup, the reason for Vishvarup taking sannyas, the reason of Srila Prabhupada taking sannyas is the same. But externally, it appeared that it was just the nearest tithi that was there. That was when he could take sannyas.
And I have one more. This I was hearing to your lectures on the Telegram. It was one of the thing was like whenever it is you have to follow three things. Was you had mentioned sadhu, shastra, and guru. Yeah. So like if anything is written in shastra first, or it's like you have to refer all three. So like so. This was very new to me. Like I was used to always think like whatever Guru says, it is like the ultimate. Like because the Guru is obviously in Bhagavad Gita also. Krishna said that Guru is the one that Tadiq Patin, that he is already we approach to the thing who has been learned and who has, and then it is just follow his instructions. And so could you just I was not able to still understand it fully, so please could you just tell me more about it little bit, like still like because it was in my knowledge, it was like what Guru says, just follow him. And because it is
It
and
is
then
true.
why yeah, so that was the thing.
It is true. It is true that whatever the spiritual master says is actually the absolute truth. So sometimes, if we do not have that faith initially, we can, mostly it is what it is that the words of the scriptures, Shastra, that can be confirmed by the Guru and the Sadhu. And even the words of the Guru, we can see that it is automatically confirmed by the the Shastra and the Sadhus. That's exactly even what Srila Prabhupada did. Srila Prabhupada, when his spiritual master came in the dream and instructed Prabhupada to take sannyas, first time, second time, third time, yes, sannyas is part, it is there in the Shastra. Srila Prabhupada also went to the Sadhu, to his senior god brothers, and he confirmed that, my Guru Maharaj is saying like this in the dream. Should I go ahead? His god brother said, yes, you should go ahead. And then Srila Prabhupada went ahead. So Sadhu Guru Shastra. So like this, yes, we do have implicit faith in what, it's not like, oh, Guru has said this, now where in the Shastra is it said? It's not in that mentality that we are confirming what the Guru is saying in that kind of a challenging way or anything like that. But it is just a reaffirmation of what the Guru has said that is already there in the Shastra. It's like that.
And to build faith in the Guru, it takes time to build natural faith. We cannot just blindly, when we are, say, searching for who should be my Guru, we cannot just say anyone who says, I am Guru, okay, I will accept you as Guru. No. So someone says, okay, I'm Guru, I will teach you or whatever. Then you say, okay, I'll give you a benefit of doubt. And then you hear from them. At that point, don't have blind faith from the beginning. Try to see, okay, what this Guru has said. Ask him or her where in the Shastra it has been said as well. Or the Guru himself should be able to back whatever he says from the Shastra. If you read Srila Prabhupada's books, after every paragraph, Srila Prabhupada quotes a verse from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Padma Puran, so many different scriptures to back up what he's saying. That what he's saying is not just a figment of his imagination. It is indeed said in the Shastra. That's what I'm saying, that Srila Prabhupada is saying. So then we have faith in Srila Prabhupada in that way. And then for first few times till you are testing, you see, okay, Guru is saying, is the what Shastra is saying the same thing? You check with other sadhus in the parampara, that are they saying the same thing? Okay, now my faith, now I accept what Guru is saying. Then it keeps increasing, keeps increasing, keeps increasing. Finally, comes a time where you say, yeah, now I don't need to check whether what he's saying is there in the Shastra or not. That is practical faith. We should not do blind faith. So Guru Sadhu Shastra, if we apply that principle, if we have faith in Guru based on Guru Sadhu Shastra, then that's practical faith. If we have faith in Guru just because the Guru is saying, listen to me, that is blind faith. So we should not have blind faith even in religion. In fact, in religion or spirituality, it's all the more important that we not have blind faith, because there is no sensory perception immediately. But it's important we do Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. That way we can weed out any Guru who says something and is not able to justify it on the basis of Shastra.
Hope this answers your question.
Yeah, real. Thank you so much, because I always like, your parents are your first gurus.
Yes.
And you always feel like, what obviously they must have, they're so intelligent enough and experienced one. See what they have taught you and build your foundation, as you said, 0 to 5 and then 5 to 12, and they have disciplined you in their thing. So many times I just feel like, theek hai, jo parampara chal rahi hai, like, so that's the thing. And when you see this, the spiritual masters also, they have also done, like Srila Prabhupada and everybody, and Krishna is ultimate truth, he's the supreme Godhead, और उसी के बारे में बोल रहे हैं. तो फिर लगता है कि बस अब सोचो मत, बस उसको फॉलो करो. ज्यादा दिमाग लगाओगे तो कंफ्यूज हो जाओगे, फिर तो पता नहीं गोल गोल घूम जाओगे. That's what I think. और बस अपना बहुत सरल है, कृष्णा भी बहुत सरल है, रास्ता भी बहुत सरल है, और प्यार तो बहुत सिर्फ, like, you have just to feel it from your heart. You have just to surrender himself, and then it's very easy. And I have seen somebody, when they go too much into all these, वो पता नहीं कहाँ चले जाते हैं, और फिर I just don't want to comment on it, but I have seen some people, so for me, like, that's why I was little wanted to ask you and just wanted to clarify. Okay, fine. So that's the thing.
No, very nice question. Thank you, Dee. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Shri Radhe.
And thank you for dedicating it to my mother. I'll tell her, and then she becomes so extremely happy when I tell her and share all these things. I'll give her a call now, and then
Please.
Thank you so
Convey our
much.
obeisances and
Thank
pranams to her as well.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Jai Shri Radhe.
Jai Radhe.
Hari Prasad Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories goes to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. And today, yeah, it is very, very beautiful, Prabhu. You both made me to cry for half an hour. I'm not able to write the notes, seriously. I was crying, realizing that I was there in that home and feeling, I am able to understand the feel of Sacimata and Jagannath Mishra. And one more question, Prabhu. Though Jagannath Mishra is a learned scholar, and still he's not able to bear it, right? And our Nimai is, he's a god, right? He's a god, supreme person. Even he felt unconscious. Why? What is the reason behind that? What we need to understand from that?
Love.
Okay.
That is unconditional love. Yes, we feel love towards the Lord. And that's why we see even Srimati Radharani, the gopis, they are fainting in ecstasy. We can understand the fainting in ecstasy of Jagannath, Mishra, and Sacimata. We understand that. But Nimai, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why is he fainting? Because that's what he came to experience. That why do devotees faint in feeling pure love for me? Krishna wanted to experience that. And this was the first time that Krishna, as little Nimai, he experienced this when Vishvarupa left home after sannyas. He felt, so much of pain in Vishvarupa's separation that he fell unconscious in his love. And that is the purpose, the main purpose of Krishna coming with the mood of Srimati Radharani, is to experience what the devotees feel for Krishna. How can the devotees love Krishna so much? Krishna wanted to experience that. And therefore, as Lord Chaitanya, he experienced this. This was the very first time that he experienced that love.
Yeah, it's clear, Mataji. It is clear. The bhajan also very, very divine. And one more thing I want to say, like when I chant separately, that much concentration won't come. When I chant with you both, it is really, I felt like in my heart, the way you explain in Japa session, right? I'm able to realize that one. Properly concentrating in my chanting and hearing also. And thank you so much for all the videos which you are posting in Telegram. I'm keep on watching it. And it is very, very nice, Prabhu and Mataji. You both gave a very, very wonderful narration over there. I'm learning many things from you both. I'm keep on learning. Thank you so much for making me to uplift everything. I don't know, speechless. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We are very grateful that you brought up the Telegram channel. That Telegram channel we are not doing. We both are actually not doing anything. It's actually done. The entire effort is put in by Hema Mataji from Chennai.
Of course, she consults us in all of those videos before she puts and things like that. But yeah, it's all her and the team's effort.
And she's the one who's doing the regular post of, putting it in that Telegram channel. And there's a team of devotees who are making these videos, these short snippet videos. It's a team of, Benita Mataji from Mumbai, Rajeshwari from Chennai, and Hema Mataji from Chennai. So these three Matajis, under the direction of Divyangi Mataji and Prem Vikas Prabhu, they are doing these wonderful videos. And we offer little suggestions here and there, but it's that team that's driving this entire thing. So we are expressing our heartfelt gratitude to this wonderful team of devotees.
And to all of you who are considering it worthy to hear and listen and allowing us to engage in your service in this way. And allowing us to engage in your service by encouraging you in your spiritual lives.
Thank you so much, Babaji and Mataji. Dandavad Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments?
If not, we can end here. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna
Hare
Mataji,
Krishna,
Dandavad Pranam.
Hare
Krishna Prabhuji and Mataji, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji,
Hare Krishna Mataji
good
Prabhuji.
Mataji and Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna, Beta.